Here is a beginner guide on how to play the first section of Für Elise. My name is Brad from North Shore Piano School, and in this video I'm going to show you note by note on how to play the first section of Für Elise, and then I'm going to give you some playing tips to make it sound really good. I've also made some beginner-friendly sheet music that has all the note names and finger numbers, and if you'd like it, I'll put a link in the description below. Für Elise is a great piece for beginners to learn. It's one of the most recognizable, famous classical piano pieces, and it's also actually easy enough that pretty much anyone can learn it. Another reason to learn it is that it teaches very important skills, such as how to move your hands to different positions, and how to play with even rhythm and a nice sense of volumes, as well as how to use the pedal. So let's get started. We have to learn 3 things for the first section. The first thing is the famous ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum. To do that, you put your 4th finger on D sharp, which is the one on the right in the group of 2 black notes, and your pinky is on E, and you go E, D sharp, E, D sharp, E. Sometimes I remember that with "This is Für Elise." And then, with 1 finger per note, we go 2, 4, 3, 1 on B, D, C, and A. 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, B, D, C, A. So that's the first thing you learn. The second thing, you bring your thumb down to middle C, and then stretch out your hand so that your pinky is on B. And your pointer finger will be on E, and your ring finger is on A. And we do fingers 1, 2, 4, 5. And the third thing to learn is bringing our right hand up, so the thumb is on E, the pointer finger is on the middle black note, and these 4th and 5th fingers have slid up 1 note on B and C. And again, we do the same fingers, 1, 2, 4, 5. And then we play our thumb and do the first thing again. And then to the second thing again. And now we go to the third thing, but instead of playing 1, 2, 4, 5, we go 1, 5, 4, 3 on E, C, B, A. And that's the entire first section. Here, I'll play it all together. Now, to get good at that, you want to be able to do that correctly without any wrong notes or fingers a few times in a row. Another way, if you're struggling with this, is to play what I call block chords. Like you do this block chord, then you do this block chord, and then you do this one, and you do it again, and then the last one. And just by practicing going from position to position, you can train your hand to go to the correct places automatically. Now for the left hand, there is only 2 things to learn. Your thumb is on the A below middle C, and the pinky's on the A below that, and your pointer finger is on E, and you go A, E, A, as in 5, 2, 1. After that, we bring our left hand down so that the octave is on E's. And we go pinky, thumb, and then we cross over to the middle black note, which is G sharp. And then we go back to the first thing, A, E, A. And it's what I call a sandwich, because we go A, A, E, G sharp, and then back to A, A. So let's do all 3. We just do that 2 times in the first section. Now to put it all together, each hand plays on its own, but we do play 1 note at the same time, which is the last note of the right hand. It's the same time as the first note of the left hand. So you want to make sure your left hand is set up. And these are together, and then we do this. And then these are together, and then right here. And together, and together. So to get used to that, we just break it into small pieces. You just start on the first one, and you play these at the same time. Once you can do that, then you add the rest of the left hand. And then once you can do that, you practice moving your right hand to the second position. And then we practice moving your left hand and playing this together. And maybe we just go up to that spot. Once you can do that, then you add the rest of the left hand. And then you add the third thing. And then add the pinkies together. And then the full left hand. And then we'll do it again. This, and then the final piece. Now for the next section, we're going to break it into 2 parts. First, we'll start with the right hand. Bring your thumb up to B and do fingers 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, keep our upper part of the hand where it is and extend your thumb to G. Just 2 notes down and go 1, 5, 4, 3. Now, a lot of people make the mistake of losing this position. They bring their thumb down here and then they have to refine this note. The key is to keep the top of your hand where it is. Just move the thumb. And now we move the thumb 1 note, and then the top of the hand gets dragged down in a note. And then we do it 1 more time. Now we can practice this by grouping these right hand notes together like this. And then we go, and then we walk it down. Now the left hand on this part is very similar to the first part, except everything gets moved up 2 notes. So AEA is moved up to C, G, C, and the EE, G sharp gets moved up to G, G, and B, all white notes. And then the third piece is back to the AEA. Now we can put it together, again playing the left hand with the last note of the right hand. And then here, down to G, G, B, and then A, E, A. And the last one will be going down that low E. Again, we can break it into small pieces. Add the rest of the left hand. And then bring the right hand thumb down. Now we go down to G. Just work on that until you're able to do it. And then add the rest of it. And then the next part. And then that, and then this. Once you can do all that, you're ready for the second part of the B section, which is the 9 E's. Started on the low E, the same low E we played in the first section. And you cross over and do 1, 2, 3. Then your right hand, which just did this, stays where it is. Your thumb is actually on the correct note. It's the note that your left hand just played. And your right hand plays that, and then this E. And then your left hand comes and plays those same notes while your right hand moves up an octave. And then your right hand does these last 2. So 1 more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All together. And the final part of the B section is this. We start in D sharp and go up to E, and then your right hand, and then your left hand, and then your 4th finger now needs to be placed on that D sharp. And then does that 1 note, and then we're back to the first section. Now the reason we switch hands is so that you can keep track of how many you need to do. It's a left, left, and then 1 note. As in left, right, left, 1 note, and then you're back to it. So that's the 2 sections. The final thing to learn here is the ending. When you're doing the A section for the second time, and you're coming into the at the very end of it, the only thing that's different is the thumb goes down to D. And the last note is 2 notes here. Your thumb then slides down to C, and we add the octave on A's down low. So those are all the notes. Now let's talk about some tips on how to make it sound better. Now the first tip has to do with moving your hands. A lot of people don't move their hands soon enough, and when it's time to play the next position, you just aren't there and it creates a pause, like this. The solution is to move your hand as the final step when you play something. You play the short melody and then you move, like this. Or like this. Or like this. So you can practice the moves doing them as actual block chords. And that's an important concept in piano playing in general. You want to move your hands as early as possible to where they need to be. My next tip, which will make this sound much better, is to have even rhythm. Instead of, you want to have a nice steady beat. So this is a good time to start using a metronome. Here I set it to 120. We just play along with each click. If you want to learn about how to use a metronome, check out this other video I made about it. The next thing that will make Für Elise sound better is the volumes. And generally, we want to start quietly on the first section, and then the second section gets louder. And then it gets quiet right here. The final tip is to use the sustain pedal. The sustain pedal makes this piece beautiful sounding. And what you do is you push it down generally whenever you play your left hand pinky. There's a few mistakes that people often do when they first learn to use a sustain pedal. There's actually a good amount to learn about it, so I made an entire video about it. And if you've never used it, you should watch that right here.